So this might be one of the coolest looking speakers I've ever had in my house. This is the MorningBlues SonicGlass A1. And unlike traditional speakers, this thing is designed to make your music just interesting to watch and listen to. You got lyrics that appear to float across transparent glass, dynamic visual effects that react to your music, dual 80-watt amplification, and even AI generated visuals. And MorningBlues also sent over the Music Hub C1, which gives you physical control over your music and can even turn your regular songs into karaoke. But the big question is, does all of this actually make listening to your music better? Let's go ahead and find out. Alright, so let's start with just getting everything out of the box and getting this set up. So straight out of the box, pretty obvious that the SonicGlass isn't trying to look like a traditional speaker. Now flip it on the side, you are going to have the control buttons. This is going to allow you to get to the menus on the speaker itself, as well as adjust volume, which we'll get into here in a little bit. On the back side, you're going to have two USB ports. These are going to be for adding media. You're also going to have a USB-C for power, and you have the on and off switch. The centerpiece is the large transparent display, and when you turn the built-in backlight off, you really get to see what makes this thing different. Now, you can see straight through the display while the graphics and lyrics appear to float on top of the glasses. So instead of hiding your speakers somewhere in the room, MorningBlues clearly designed the SonicGlass to become part of your setup. Now on a desk, in a bedroom, in a music room, or next to your entertainment center, this definitely is a conversation piece. So quick overview of the controls from the actual speaker itself. So it does have a scroll wheel, which does adjust the volume, as you can see there. And now if you press the button in the middle, you can see you do have a couple options. So you have your sound effects. All right, so you can go from vocals to reverb to your hi-fi. Right, so we also have our backlight, which we can turn on and off. You can see the difference there. We have our Wi-Fi, self-explanatory. We have our wireless communication. So basically, what is it connected to right now? All right, and the cool thing is that you can always scroll up. If there's a device in here, you can just click on it and get out of it. We have our user manual. We have our software update, so you can check directly from updates from the box and back to your sound effects. And when you're done, you pretty much just leave it like that, and then it will go back to whatever you had it to. So let's jump into some of the main features of this device. Now the feature that immediately sold me on this concept is something MorningBlues calls MoodLyrics. And now instead of simply putting regular lyrics on your screen, the AI turn it into dynamic scenes. So you get the lyrics that move, you get an animation, you get synchronization with the beat, and you can change the visual style depending on the type of look you're going for. And this is where turning the backlight off really makes a difference. Because the room behind the speaker is still visible, the words almost seem like they're just floating in midair. And let's jump into some of the different styles. Now that's actually really cool. And unlike normal screens that basically becomes a giant black rectangle in your room, the transparency allows the SonicGlass to blend in with the environment. Now this is definitely the feature I would want people to see in person. So here's the important part. This still needs to be a good speaker. So inside you've got dual full range drivers powered by two 80-watt Class D amplifiers. MorningBlues also offers 3 different sound profiles, so you can adjust the sound depending on your environment. So one of the most interesting pieces of hardware is going to be the transparent diaphragm. Now MorningBlues say they're using a German SCHOTT glass instead of more traditional materials you would normally find in speaker drivers. Now this idea is to reduce distortion while maintaining detail and clarity, but forget about the specs for a second. How does it actually sound? And let's go ahead and listen to a couple tracks.
Kick back sometimes and wonder how life would have been if I never did take them risks and would have I prospered. You want Sanchez or X, which one? You want friends or success, which one?
And the lyrics aren't the only thing you can display. The SonicGlass can also generate AI powered visuals based on the music you're listening to, Also, different scenes can adapt to things like your genre, your tempo, as well as your energy on the track. Now there's even an AI music video feature and face swap functionality that can place you into some of the visual content, and when you're not listening to the music, you can upload your own photos, your own videos. So now the A1 becomes a transparent digital photo frame. Now there's also a clock mode and different ambient experience, and that means that it's still doing something visually interesting even when you're not actively listening to music. So for a desktop setup or a modern living room setup, I think this is one of the A1's biggest strengths. It doesn't feel like something you necessarily need to hide when you're done using it. So with all that said, that's great. If you want to just connect via Bluetooth from your phone, you can stream your music, you can control it from your phone. And then there is this. This is the MorningBlues Music Hub C1. And I actually really like the idea behind this. We're so used to controlling everything from your phone that sometimes we make simple things just seem unnecessary. The Music Hub brings back physical controls. You've got knobs, you got playback controls, you got equalizer adjustments, shortcut buttons, as well as a touchscreen. So instead of constantly unlocking your phone just to change to something else, you can do this directly from here. And one of the things I hate about using phone to control music, if you're in a party situation and you have to leave or you're getting a phone call, it is going to interrupt what's going on. So this gives you another way to control your music without being interrupted. So this also works with multiple speakers. So if you have any additional Bluetooth speakers, you can connect it to this. So on the hub, you do have 3 shortcut Bluetooth connections, so 1, 2, and 3, and you can switch between those very easily by just hitting the button corresponding to the device you want to connect to. Of course, these is going to be your equalizer settings, so this is going to be your lows. And the cool thing is that when you start moving these up and down, you'll see the display on the screen that lets you know what you're doing. So I love that as well. So of course you're gonna have your lows over here, you're gonna have your highs to the right, and you can adjust it as needed. You do have your rewind, your play pause, and your fast forward, standard button, standard configuration. But also here's a feature I definitely wanted to test: voice removal. So with one button or one twist of the knob, the Music Hub can reduce vocals from a track and basically turn it into karaoke songs.
She got fit, but she wanna get thin again. Drinking apple cider vinegar.
So on the hub itself, you do have 2 knobs. Black button is going to have 2 functions. Press it, you're going to have your brightness control, so you can adjust the screen. Also have the volume control, which I'm going to leave here for now. All of these buttons right here, these 8 buttons, these are all shortcut that I was able to go in and program most of them. So first one is going to take me home. So let me just go somewhere else just to demonstrate it. So this is my main settings. First one's going to take me home to the main interface. Below that is going to be Apple Music. Next is going to be Spotify, which I'm in currently. It's going to be my Google Play Store, which I program because I do plan to use this to download applications. We also have YouTube on here. Did I mention that? You can literally put YouTube on this.
Some people were visiting the jungle when this little elephant decided to act tough and scary.
How cool is that? Below that is my weather. Then I do have the MorningBlues app, which it goes directly to. And up top, it does have a quick mute button, which I do think is useful. Maybe you're doing something, you just want to quickly cut the music. You do have that option there. And of course, you can go into the settings here and you can do everything that you'd be able to do on Android. Let me close this window out. So Bluetooth version, your quick launches are going to be right here. So this gives you some variation how you want to listen to your music. And also, if you're somebody who likes karaoke at home, MorningBlues also offers microphone bundles to turn this into a more complete setup. So you got the lyrics here, your music, and the ability to remove original vocals. I can definitely see people having a lot of fun with this one. So let's do a quick run through of the application. Within the app, you have 4 major areas. You have your lyrics lab, studio lab, you have your serene lab, and you do have your clock lab, and those are the 4 main areas. But before we get into that, you do have the menu up top where you can see your device manual, your your Wi-Fi, Bluetooth devices, Bluetooth name, your time, your casting settings, as well as your software update. Before we jump into the different labs, we also have a controller right here at the bottom left. So if you click on that, that's a floating widget that will always be there, guys. So within here, you can start playing and you can turn the backlight on and off as well. So those are the options there. Like I said, whenever you're in the application, this widget is always going to be here. Can move it around, but it just gives you instant control over your device. All right, so let's start with the lyric lab. So if we wanted to AirPlay, all we have to do is go to the bottom and we're going to select AirPlay. And you can see now you have Morning Blues. Go ahead and select that. So let's go back over to the application. We'll check out the lyrics lab. So let's go ahead and we'll jump into it. So we do have a lyric scene. You can see there. Uncheck the ones that we don't want to show. All right, so we're back to the basics. So again, if you wanted to do waves, you can go ahead and do that. You see the waves right there. Also have heartbeat. So what it'll do is essentially it will go through the different types. So that's the snowfall. We do have a music scene as well. And we do have a couple options there where we can unselect. But this is all under classic. However, if you click on immersive mode, you can see it goes into different modes for you, which I do like. So that's basically the lyric lab. Next, we're gonna have our studio lab. So with this, you have private pictures, albums. If you have pictures, albums, you can go ahead and set them. So for instance, I do have a couple here that I wanted to preview. So we can add our photos. We can do different things here. Do have the options to do videos as well. So let's let's take a look and check out the slideshow. We're gonna apply that. We'll essentially just cycle through the different videos that you have on here. And you do have the option to set a timer as well. So that was a little bit of our studio lab. Over to our Serene lab. This is one of my favorites for sure. So within Serene lab, you have ambient sound, you have meditation, ASMR, as well as yoga. We'll try a couple of them out. It's pretty easy to switch through them as well. And one thing that I think it's very important is that you can get to that with the actual hub as well. So all you need to do is go down. You will have the Morning Blues application right here. So after using the SonicGlass around the house, I think its biggest advantage is that it doesn't feel just like another piece of audio equipment. Put it on your desk, it becomes part of your setup. At night, you can have lyrics, you can have visuals while you're listening to music. When you're working, you do have ambient sounds, white noise, ASMR, as well as focus modes. And when you're not listening to anything, you can use your own folders or simply have the clock displayed. Now, the biggest consideration is obviously the price. The SonicGlass is currently listed at $7.99 with a regular price at $9.99, and the Music Hub is currently listed at $3.59, down from $3.99. So no, this is not a budget setup, and if you're concerned about getting the most sound quality possible for your money, there are plenty of traditional speakers to choose from, but that's also not the point. You're paying for a combination of transparent design, dynamic lyrics, visual sound, AI features, and the overall experience. And I think this makes more sense for somebody who wants technology that's actually part of the look of their room. Overall, the MorningBlues A1 is easily one of the most unique pieces I've had in my setup. The dynamic lyrics are definitely the star of the show, but when you combine those lyrics with transparent design, the AI visuals, and the actual hi-fi audio, you end up with something that feels very different from the normal Bluetooth speakers, and adding the Music Hub makes the entire setup more interesting, especially if you want physical controls, multiple speaker support, or the karaoke functionality that we talked about. And if you want to learn about the MorningBlues SonicGlass A1 or the Music Hub, leave the links below where you can go ahead and check it out. Make sure you hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.